Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Salam warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh.
Hello, good morning, student. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Fine,
Good
thanks.
morning, ma'am. Good.
All right. Before we start our lesson today, let's pray together. Okay, let's pray together. Start. Enough. Is everyone here today?
Yes, ma'am. Nobody is absent.
Okay.
Can you see my PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In junior high school, you have learned about heat and heat transfers. Somebody, please tell me what is heat? Anyone?
Me, ma'am.
Is
Me,
Anit?
ma'am. Heat is an energy that moves from material from higher temperature to material with lower temperature.
Very good, Anis. We know that heat transfer occurs through three methods: conduction, convection, and radiation. So today we are going to learn about convection. There are two examples of circumstances in which convection occurs shown in that picture: land breeze and sea breeze. Is there someone who still remember what are they and what causes them?
Me, ma'am. Land breeze is a wind that moves from the land to the sea, and it's happened at night. It is because at night the land cools faster than the sea, so the air on the land is cooler than the sea. Consequently, the air from the sea moves up and replaced by the air from the land.
Okay. How about the sea breeze?
Me, ma'am. Sea breeze is a wind that moves from the sea to the land and it occurs at noon. At noon, the land is becoming hot faster than the sea. So, the air on the land is hotter than the air on the sea. Consequently, the air from the land moves up and is replaced by the air from the sea.
Okay. Wonderful. Nice answer, Maharani and Dila. Thus, from those examples, it can be concluded that convection is a heat transfer followed by the movement of the substance particles. Convection only occurs in gas and liquid, and it occurs because of the difference of the density.
Convection in gases is also closely related to movement of the wind. How the wind move? We will learn it through this video. Wait a minute. Let's watch the video. Can you see the video?
Yeah.
Okay. What can you infer through the video? Anyone?
Me, man. Like the,
Gilang?
like the explanation about land and sea breezes before, wind is air in motion which moves from the high pressure to low pressure to equalize the pressure. Heat will move with gas or air particles. As a result, there is a heat transfer followed by an intermediary, namely gas or air. Therefore, the movement of the wind also has something to do with convection.
Okay, good answer, Gilang. Can you see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
I can see the PPT.
Okay, next there are some other example of convection. There is a hot air balloon. Have you ever been in a hot air balloon? Can anyone explain how convection occurs in hot air balloons?
Me, ma'am.
Okay, Gilang.
The heater inside the balloon heats the air so that the air moves outward. This causes the balloon to rise because of hot air is trapped inside. When it wants to descend, hot air is released and cool air flows, causing the balloon to descend. Heat transfer from the heater to upper balloon occurs by convection.
Very good, Gilang. The other example is radiator. What can you infer from this picture, guys?
Me, ma'am.
Okay,
Me,
Anis?
ma'am. What happened to the radiator is that warm air flows at the top and throws the cold air at the bottom. The transfer of warm air on the radiator occurs by convection. The radiator is a heat exchanger that is used to transfer heat energy from one medium to another. The purpose of using radiator is to cool or heat the room, ma'am.
Nice answer, Anis. After hearing everyone answer, I think everyone already understand about the convection. Next, we will learn more about convection.
Alright, class, moving on. As I said earlier, we are going to learn about convection. There will be a discussion applying the concept of convection and heat transfer in spread of the coronavirus and analyzing the factors.
Okay. Okay, everyone, you must have heard a lot of news about corona, right? On television, internet, on YouTube. Who doesn't know about corona this time? How is the condition in your area? In my place, Alhamdulillah, no one has got infected by COVID yet because we are doing the health protocols. Then, how about the state of the spread of COVID-19 in your respective area? In response to the new SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus epidemic, which has become a major public health problem around the world, we must be aware of its spread and must not be caught off guard. As we learned, the coronavirus is transmitted through droplets of liquid from the nose or mouth. When you are sneezing, coughing, or talking. In addition, this virus can be transmitted through contaminated objects. The World Health Organization, or WHO, also said that the coronavirus is able to survive for some time in the air. Well, even though it can survive in the air, is it true that the coronavirus can also be transmitted through the air? Let's watch the explanation video. Okay. Okay, can you see the video, guys?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't hear you.
Can you see the video?
Yes, ma'am, I can see it.
Okay, let's watch the video.
Can the coronavirus stay in the air? More than 200 scientists believe it does. The World Health Organization now acknowledges that there is emerging evidence of the airborne spread of the novel coronavirus. What does this mean? A respiratory infection like COVID-19 is spread by droplets expelled when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or speaks. These droplets can be of varying sizes. Relatively bigger and heavier ones do not travel far or remain in the air. This is why maintaining a distance of nearly 2 meters or 6 feet is advised. These droplets either sink to the ground or on objects and surfaces. We need to wash our hands frequently so that we don't touch these contaminated surfaces. But we knew all this already. So what has changed? There is now mounting recognition that this virus can spread through smaller, tinier droplets called aerosols, which remain suspended in the air for a longer duration. These aerosols can be released even when an infected person simply breathes or talks. Anyone who inhales the same air can catch the disease. We don't know for sure for how long this virus lingers in the air. Experts agree that these aerosols may not travel very long distances or remain viable outdoors. But crowded spaces and poorly ventilated indoors could be breeding grounds for infection. A single person in a closed room can release enough aerosolized virus over time to infect many people. But aerosols are smaller in size, so they contain lesser virus than big droplets. Even the tiniest measures can help. How do I stay safe?
Okay, enough. Okay, from the video, we got the good news that the coronavirus that lives in the air is not strong enough to spread to people who are physically not so close to those who are infected with COVID-19, which means that there is a certain distance limit so that the virus can be transmitted. So, how does the virus move in the air? What are the factors? What about the environment around you? How is the spread of COVID-19? This is that you will discuss as a group later.
Okay. Later, I will make a group of 3 people in breakout Zoom for discussion. And now please open the student worksheet in our chat.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Uh, Read the worksheet and your task is to discuss the answer of the given problem by concept of convection heat transfers, which is previously explained, and with your own group discuss it, then put your answer or result of the discussion in PowerPoint or Word document according to the worksheet, and then I will select one of the groups to present it in the class. I'll give you 30 minutes for discussion. Is there any question?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No question.
Okay, now start your discussion. Don't forget that you can searching reference and information from the internet, books, any reliable source to answer this problem.
Alright, class, time up and end the discussion. Now, please, group 1, present your PowerPoint. For the rest, please pay attention to the group 1 presentation, okay?
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 1 and my name is Anissa and my friend Areta and Sinava. Move to slide 2. Okay, so the development of the COVID-19 case in Lamongan based on zoning map 22 March ago shows the result of improvement. There has been a significant change in Lamongan from an orange zone or moderate risk to a yellow zone or low risk. According to the data collected, since early February, the COVID-19 cases in Lamongan have continued to decline. February 1 until 7, there are 87 active COVID-19 patients, and it continues to decline. Until now, there are only 20 active patients. The same is true for confirmed cases of COVID-19, which has also experienced a decline. In early February, 46 people had tested positive for COVID-19, and this has dropped to 40 people.
Viruses are transmitted through respiratory droplet and droplet nuclei that are produced mostly when sneezing and coughing. Small droplet or aerosol containing the virus move in the air via convection. Convection in the air is the main mechanism from spreading the infection. Convection driving them into region of smaller concentration. On the one hand, the convection mechanism provide particle macro mixing within the fluid through the tendency of hotter and consequently less dense material to rise and colder, denser material to sink under the influence of gravity. The convection pattern in a room can be very complex as shown figure 1. It depends on the location of the air conditioners, radiators, windows, and all items in the room, as well as one people producing vortices by moving around. This applies to meeting rooms, supermarket, department stores, and etc. The safest room must be those equipped with the air sucking ventilator at the top, like hospital surgery rooms.
Okay, next. Airborne SARS-CoV-2 virus spreads from infected individuals and accumulates in confined space where it can linger in the aerosol form for hours. The inhaled virus load depends on the virus concentration in the air and the time of exposure. Concentration can vary from one spot to another. It depends on the location of the spreaders and the pattern of the airflow. The latter is determined by many factors such as the location of doors and windows, ventilators, heaters, movement of people, and etc. At present, many studies have proved that meteorological factors, especially temperature, air humidity, and wind speed, have significant influence on COVID-19 transmission. In addition, the influence of meteorological factors on COVID-19 transmission change with season and geographical location. Next. Studies of the airflow in public spaces are important for mitigating this problem. In the long run, business and educational facilities should consider redesigning ventilation and air conditioning system to effectively reduce concentration of the aerosol virus in the air. Okay, that's all can we present for all of you. Any question?
Me.
Okay,
Okay, Chandra.
Avinda.
Okay, I want to ask something. But reconfiguring the ventilation of public and private facilities cannot be done within the timescale of the pandemic. So, what is your solution to prevent the spread of the virus? Thank you.
To
You're
prevent the
welcome.
virus from becoming airborne in the very first place, people require to do the health protocols such as wear face masks in the public spaces. Masks can help prevent the spread of the virus from the person wearing the mask to others. Masks alone do not protect against COVID-19 and should be combined with physical distancing and hand hygiene. And stay home if you feel unwell.
If you have fever, cough, or difficulties for breathing, seek medical attention. Okay, that's all.
Okay.
Good job, guys. Implementing health protocol is much more effective at reducing the risk of transmission. Luckily, now we have vaccine, but preventive measures and health protocols still needed to be implemented until the pandemic is completely lost. For further explanation, take a look at the following video. Okay, how do I stay safe? We'll continue watch this video.
To put it simply, wear your mask. Physical distancing and hand washing are still extremely important, but they may not be enough. Preventing airborne transmission would mean avoiding crowded indoor spaces as much as possible. If you do spend time indoors, do not forget to wear a mask, except maybe around family and friends who you know have stayed safe. Ensure enough fresh air is circulating through a room. Open windows and doors as much as possible. If you can, upgrade the filters in your home air conditioning systems. If schools, offices, malls, and stores reopen, the ventilation systems may need to add powerful new filters to avoid recirculating the same air. In the right setting, the use of ultraviolet lights that can kill the virus may also be considered. Remember, stagnant air inside closed doors could be your enemy. Masks, distancing, and hand washing. You know the drill.
Okay. Okay. And to understand more about the movement of air in the room, let's watch the following video. Wait a minute. Okay, this is the air movement inside and around building video. Let's watch it.
The term natural ventilation is used to indicate the intentional airflow through openings obtained without the use of fan or other mechanical devices. It is created by pressure differences caused by the wind or by temperature differences between the inside and the outside. Natural ventilation affects health because of the relationship between air changes and air quality. The energy balance of the building, since the flow of external air subtracts heat from or adds it to the internal space and to the building structure. Thermal comfort, because air velocity affects the body's energy balance through convective exchange and perspiration. In this lecture, we focus on some indication about air movements inside and around buildings and on the related basic principles. First of all, air always moves naturally from a higher pressure zone to a lower pressure one. An airflow is called laminar when the speed is low and the fluid streamlines all move in parallel. As the speed increases or a pronounced change of direction occurs, the motion becomes turbulent and fluid streamlines cease to move in parallel, giving rise to significant changes in direction and to eddies. Air is subjected to the Bernoulli effect, because of which there is a reduction of pressure when speed increases. This effect is exploited in the wing of an airplane, whose shape is such that it forces air passing above it to follow a longer path. This results in greater speed than that of the air flowing beneath it. The pressure at the top is then lower than at the bottom, and there is a push from the bottom to upwards. Because of the Venturi effect, when an airstream is forced through a smaller section, its speed increases. As an effect of a combination of the factors previously described, when the wind hits a building, it causes area of low pressure to be created along the side parallel to its direction and on the leeward side. When the air inside the room is warmer than the outdoor air, it triggers the stack effect. The pressure inside is lower than it is outside due to the lower density of the warmer air. It must be clarified that it is not an easy task to predict the flow of air around and through buildings, especially with regard to the path of the fluid streamlines. In the past, knowledge in this field was mainly built up with scale models, smoke tests and wind tunnels. More recently, computerized fluid dynamics allows designers to predict with very good accuracy the effects of their choices. However, some indication deriving from the previous experiences could help architects in early design stage. For instance, it is well known that when a low-rise building is to windward of a higher one, considerable turbulence is creating between the two. In building of stilts, leeward pressure is reduced, and in correspondence to the stilts, wind speed significantly increases. To maximize the cooling effect of the wind, trees with high canopy should be used and bushes should be kept away from the building. The airflow pattern due to the wind depends on the relative position of the openings. The best conditions are created when outlet openings is higher and wider than the inlet. The ideal is to have them of equal area. An horizontal overhang above opening deflects flow upwards. If the overhang is spaced away from the wall, the flow is deflected at half height. When inlet and outlet openings are aligned, cross ventilation is activated by wind. If the openings are aligned in the direction of the wind, the airflow passes right through the space, influencing a reduced part of it and giving rise to modest induced air movements. If the wind blows obliquely, however, the ventilation involves a wider zone and more air movement is induced. If the wind blows parallel to the openings, there is no significant air movement in the space. If the room has openings on adjacent walls, wing walls can significantly increase the effectiveness of natural ventilation. Note that in the picture, green circles represent a higher pressure zone, while red ones mark the lower pressure zones. In most cases, rooms have only one wall facing outside and a single opening. Ventilation is derived only from turbulence induced by wind fluctuation, and the resulting air movement is quite poor. In fact, if the window is on the windward side, the available wind velocity is about 10% of the outdoor velocity at points up to a distance 1/6 of the room width. Beyond this, the velocity decreases rapidly and hardly any air movement is produced in the leeward portion of the room. This situation can be improved by splitting the single openings into two, positioning the part as far apart as possible. If the wall is to windward, a further improvement is obtained by constructing a vertical fin. In conclusion, the shape of the building, its layout and the surrounding environment affect air movement, and they should be properly considered in the evaluation.
What can you infer from the second video? Someone?
It turns out there are many kinds of air movement according to how ventilation is installed in the room.
Yeah, the movement of the wind or aerodynamic has been studied in the chapter 3 about the dynamic fluid before. There are Bernoulli effect, Venturi effect, and Stark effect, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then let's finish the discussion considering that our time is running out. If you have further questions about what we have learned today, you can ask me in spare time. And according to our discussion, it turns out that the concept of physics is closely related in our everyday life. We can also use the concept of physics to answer a problem. For example, this time you are given the text finding out how the COVID-19 virus moved in the air by applying the concept of heat transfer convection, so that we will know how to stop the transmission or prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Okay. Okay, guys. Don't forget to submit your PowerPoint in Google Classroom, okay? Before we end today's class, is there any question?
Yes, ma'am. No
question.
ask.
Okay, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for today. See you next week, guys. Stay safe. Bye.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, ma'am.